Hey Jake, you ready to talk about Switch Pro rumors?
Oh, Joey, I'm ready to talk about Switch Pro rumors. Are you ready to talk about Switch Pro rumors?
I'm ready to talk about Switch Pro rumors. Guess what? The Switch Pro is canceled.
Whoa, dang. Maybe the last Switch Pro video we ever make right here.
I doubt it, but let's get started. How's it going, everyone? Joey here. I'm joined by Jake. We're talking about the recent report from Digital Foundry that which states that the Switch Pro, which wasn't ever officially called that, but you know, it's more easy to say Switch Pro than it is to say mid-gen Switch refresh, which is pretty much what apparently, this is what John Lindemann of Digital Foundry said in their podcast. He said after talking to some developers, let me read his exact quote actually real quick so I don't misquote him. He states, "So I think at one point internally, from what I can understand from talking to different developers, is that there was some sort of mid-generation Switch update planned at one point that seems to be no longer happening. And thus it's pretty clear that whatever they do next is going to be the actual next generation hardware. I don't think it's going to be 2023. Thank you to Nintendo Everything for providing that quote." Now, Jake, I totally buy this. 100, maybe 90%. Because I don't feel like these Switch Pro rumors came out of nowhere. Something was being planned. But from what it sounds like, and this is my speculation, is that Nintendo was planning this, but then they saw the sales numbers for their current model Switches and thought, why do we need this? Which is something I wish other console manufacturers would do. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, so my first question is definitely, do I believe this? And I think that I do, just because I'm never really one to go for any, quote unquote, insider rumor information, anything. I don't buy any of it. But there were a lot of those rumors for a really long time from a bunch of different sources. And I think just given Nintendo's history and the general history of the industry, it does make sense that there was something planned that wasn't the OLED model. It makes sense, especially the Switch, console built on the idea of scalability, having something that does push it a little bit higher, maybe even something as silly as you get docked performance in your handheld, something like that. Yeah, I believe that this was definitely a possibility. I do think it might have been a perfect storm situation of, COVID really drove some Switch sales, but there was also the chip shortage, and I think maybe there was a confluence of events happening where it was like, maybe we're doing good, maybe it doesn't make sense to do this, maybe we don't have the materials, maybe all of a sudden the materials cost too much because of this shortage, and there's all these different avenues we need to cross, so let's just sit. I do think there is a chance that happened, yes. So yeah, I think that this is probably, I will say that the way it is framed on the Digital Foundry thing is that it's unclear to me if this is actually new information or if this is just kind of an interpretation of the information we knew in regards to where we are now. Because I think a lot of us maybe could have theorized after hearing all of those rumors and then getting to hear and being like, maybe that didn't happen. And what if, Joey, a few months go by, what if Tears of the Kingdom's coming out and we do get a Switch refresh? What if that happens? You know what I mean?
I'd be so mad.
So I don't want to, so I don't want to take this as a hard lock or anything like that is the only reason I'm saying that. Yeah, because I think as well as I do, the way information comes out in this industry that people don't know nothing and things change fast. So, so do I think there was a plan that was going to happen that got scrapped? Yes. Do I think that means the Switch Pro is out? No. So, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I also think I want to believe this rumor because I don't want there to be a mid-gen Switch. I hate, double hate, loathe entirely mid-gen refreshes of consoles. I despise them.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about this. Like PS4 Pro. Do you see that PS4 Pro and you're just like, bleh? What's going on there? What is this about?
I think it's just a really crappy way to tell people who bought your hardware day one, hey, now your hardware is inferior. So because we decided to put out a console that does 4K, that does performance modes, And I think it's just a huge slap in the face. And I know people will tell me, but phones get upgraded every year. Those are phones, not game consoles. That's different. And I will cry if there's a PS5 Pro or an Xbox Series X, whatever the heck that's going to be called. And if Nintendo just wants to focus on next gen, please do. The Switch is going to be 6 years old, Jake.
Woo!
And I know some people who think like, oh, it's not going to be until 2027 we're getting the next Nintendo console, and I'm like, hope to God you're wrong, because I'm ready for a next gen Switch, and I don't want to see anything Switch Pro related. Give us the next gen hardware, and I just also think that this rumor is plausible, just because. We've heard from developers that Nintendo provided like a higher spec dev kit for the Switch, which that we don't know what that turned into, and it's probably just because of what you said. It was a perfect storm of COVID, and then Switch sales like increased majorly, and so Nintendo thought, hey, why don't we? Maybe they thought, hey, why not take what we have for the Switch Pro and then just improve upon it for the next hardware, whatever that is. I have some
conspiracy theories about this too.
Yes.
I do wonder if we're gonna look back on this and be like, dude, Nintendo said bye-bye Nvidia. Like, what if there's some weird corporate relationship here where you know what I mean? Where they're like, we're done with this and we're moving on. And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
That would be insane.
I
that would
know,
mean
dude.
so much. Like, and this is pure, right? This is just pure like tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theories. But that would mean like, oh no, what if the next console doesn't have DLSS? Oh no, because like I feel like Nintendo would have to rely on Nvidia a lot if they're continuing the hybrid model for the next system, which I think we could segue right into that because John Linneman said even more like this was also kind of speculation too on his part. He doesn't think that the next console is going to be in 2023, which I also believe. I think it's just a smidge too soon, especially with the Tears of the Kingdom coming out. A lot of people think Tears of the Kingdom is tied to a new Switch console release, and I'm like, y'all going to sound like fools when that game comes out and there's no new Switch to go along with it, because I don't buy it one bit. I think Nintendo's just holding off on showing us Tears of the Kingdom because they can, and we will just wait with bated breath for whatever they show us.
Joey, really quick, do you know what I think the best argument is for there not being a Switch Pro type device?
What is it?
I think Nintendo learned that they could sell a Switch with a better screen for $50 more on top of the Switch price. And I do think Nintendo has a bit of a price ceiling that they can't go past because it spells doom for them. And I almost wonder if it's this funny situation of like, oh god, if we put out a Switch Pro, what do we price that at? We pricing that at $400+? That's not gonna work. So we gotta take a step back and be like, okay, let's just do this Switch 2 thing, and we'll have a nicer screen on that one in the future, and have, you know what I mean? Like this weird thing that they learned what worked. Yeah, it's crazy, that OLED model, man. People love that. I love that thing.
I know. I'm kind of sad I didn't jump on it because I thought the new Switch would be out by now, but I guess not. But I don't know. We'll see.
I think that what this means is that there is no new Switch hardware in 2023.
Right. But do you think that means we won't see it at all in 2023 either?
I don't know. These crazy
exactly.
people. I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say no. I just don't think that's their style. I think you do Zelda, you push Zelda. You know what? If we do see it, it's winter. It's like late. It's like Zelda has had its huge launch push. We're getting into some other stuff.
Right.
It just would be weird for me to have like this Zelda game that is exclusive, that is for the Switch, and then it be the holidays and us be talking about not Zelda.
They would be fools to talk about a new Switch before Zelda. I think like after Zelda, it's like, how do we get people excited again? Yeah. Not just with Pikmin 4, not just with Metroid Prime 4, not just with Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, if that even comes out ever. Maybe a new hardware announcement. And it's so weird, right? Because, I don't know if you remember this, but like we I don't know if you youngster would remember this. This is way before you were born, Jake. Okay. But there was a thing called the NX we were looking forward to for like a year.
Yeah.
Because Iwata said like a year and a half before the Switch was announced, hey, we're already working on the next console. Yeah. So then pretty much Wii U owners spent, yes, XCOM, give it to you. So good.
Yeah.
So now it's like we spent that whole year and a half like wondering when they'll announce it.
Right.
And now it's like now Nintendo's in a completely different spot. They have a very successful machine, and it's like we don't even know now. We have no clue. Like hardly any clue at least when they would even talk about next gen. But they kind of did already. Kind of not. Back in May, I think it was after an investor's call, they said, and I'm getting this article from VGC's Andy Robinson, Nintendo says the transition to its next console is quote, a major focus for us. And this was after, I guess, a translation. Yeah, I guess this was also after a translation error, where before that, the term in English was a concern. So this also ties into what John said on Digital Foundry, saying like, and this is also speculation from him, he thinks like Nintendo is nervous about this transition, which makes a ton of sense. Because let's look at the patterns here.
Oh, yes, Joey, let's look at the patterns.
Let's look at the patterns. GameCube.
Yeah.
Not a big hit. Some would say it's a flop. Even though it's not a flop in my heart, GameCube was the GOAT. Rest in peace, GOAT. After that was the Wii. Huge, massive, tremendous success. Wii U came later. Even a bigger flop than the GameCube. Switch. Next. Bigger success.
Are we queuing up for the greatest flop of all time? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that Nintendo has a very valid reason to be scared or concerned or nervous or whatever.
Yeah.
And people would say like just call it the Switch 2, just make it a more powerful Switch. There goes the sales.
Right.
But Nintendo, the last time they capitalized on their big success was with the Wii U, which, granted, was an almost completely different machine from the Wii, at least, concept-wise, right? But, corporations and all their infinite wisdom tend to take the wrong lessons from their mistakes, and maybe they saw that maybe the reason the Wii U flopped was because of its name, and carrying that Wii name. Maybe they think they'll want to try a different name next time. There's so many this is a huge conversation we can have about this, because it is interesting, Nintendo's positioning, and who's to say what they think is a success might be a failure, who's to say what they think is a failure might be a success. I don't know, Jake, what's your take on all this?
Yeah, my take on all this is that comment from this past year about taking the transition seriously, I believe that. I believe that is a conversation that is actually had. That there is this conversation about like, okay, can we just kind of port this Zelda game over to this next console? What does that say? How does that look? This works for us seemingly every single time we do it, so why don't we do that here? I also think that like, I gotta wonder if I think there's a really interesting conversation to have about Nintendo and their audience being so wide and massive and going for a bunch of different demographics, and how you continuously sell to those groups without being PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. And because that is something I think there is a group of gamers that understand PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. And I don't think that is necessarily, we're talking about the exact same group when we're talking about people that play Nintendo consoles. A lot of those people, it's their first machine every single time.
And sometimes it's their last.
And sometimes it's...
I feel like that's what happened with the Wii.
Yeah, right.
I think Nintendo, part of the reason, also that the Wii U failed was because like, I wouldn't say like the reception of Nintendo or like the reputation of Nintendo was flawed, but it's like at the time the Wii U was announced, people were kind of down on Wii, or like done with Wii.
Sure.
Wii was just a thing that collected dust in your living room to a lot of people at that point. And then when the Wii was announced, confusing reveal, but then like it didn't come out until a year and a half later. And on top of that, all that we had in that year and a half was basically Skyward Sword, and that was it. So
there's tension. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. There's tension. And I think that there's like, right now, we are starting to feel in the mainstream gaming space, there is a little bit of tension about what the Switch is doing and how the Switch looks and how the Switch compares. I also think that there is a weird internal tension at Nintendo, I would guess, about is it easier or better to sell the public some new idea or keep trying to sell the Switch idea? Because I get it. I get the people internally that would say, why would this huge amount of casual, less in the mainstream like you and I, gamers, buy the Switch 2 when they already have a Switch? Why would they do that?
Right.
And
exactly.
And I get that. I actually get that. And I think a lot of us in the space are like, no, that's stupid. You buy the Switch 2 for the better games, the better whatever, the better this. And I'm like, but they already have Animal Crossing. Like they already have Switch Sports. They already have Kirby, Mario Kart. They already have all Mario Party, all of these great Nintendo franchises. I think you do have to make a new pitch to say, this is why you want this new thing, this thing that's interesting in a way that people are talking about that isn't just a Switch 2. So for me, at least, this tying it all back to the original, the there is no hardware refresh. I think what I'm reading in the tea leaves is that there will be no new Nintendo Switch hardware in 2023. Zelda will come out and it will just be on the Switch. And I think that the next hardware thing is not a Switch. I think it's a new Nintendo thing that makes us go, oh dang, whoa. And whatever that is, I think the Switch time, I think it's done. Yeah.
I think that's a solid prediction, and I know a lot of people will come at you like, why would Nintendo do that? But it's also just goes back to what you were saying. They're in such a confusing spot.
It's tough,
because you have those people that already love their Switch, but like you said, would they reasonably want to upgrade to a new Switch if they already have their Animal Crossing, if they already have their Mario Kart, if they already have their Super Mario Odyssey or whatever? It's just a whole lot of like thinking about that, and if anything, it's still largely like a Switch, this next console, but it also is something that has new bells and whistles to it.
Yeah.
That make it stand out more to the more casual crowd as well. And I had another point, but I totally forgot what it was.
What you're
backwards. There it is. Backwards compatibility.
Joey, that's what I was gonna say. Okay, great. Please take it away.
Is this new system, Jake, going to have backwards compatibility? Meaning, is it gonna take cartridges? My goodness, there's stuff to think about here. Ooh. And like, you'd think like, obviously, backwards compatibility is a very big deal in this industry.
Yeah.
Nintendo does not always do the thing that is obvious. So, man,
I think yes.
There's so much to think about.
I think yes.
You think yes?
I do think so, yes. I do think the cartridge thing helps them. I think the cartridge is a good medium for them. I think that they'll probably stick with cartridges. I think cartridges are good, right?
Yes.
Like in comparison to discs and stuff, like cartridges are good for load times and good for whatever, and you can upgrade the capacity. And okay, yeah. So I think we'll stick with cartridges. I think it'll play your Switch games. I also think there's a fair chance whatever this thing is will, kind of like what you were alluding to, will kind of play the fiddle of the Switch Pro. I think you will be able to play your Switch games on here. They'll probably perform better. Because again, the Switch is a console with the architecture built upon the idea of scalability, going from portable to handheld. It just makes sense to me that they'll have some kind of system in place. Maybe it's not super like every single game, but like some games just, again, I think having docked performance in handheld, that to me is like a given. That's yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I hope so too. Not to like turn this into like, what could this next Nintendo console be kind of video.
Totally.
We're gonna have a whole video about that, like at some point in the future when it's like we're close to the reveal and we feel it in our bones.
Right.
But I just hope the next console has an SSD, please.
You're begging, Joey. You're begging.
I don't know, man. SSDs are this big now. Just saying.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Listen, I think I got one in my Steam Deck, maybe. Maybe. Is that what that's what I did, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, I think what we're really getting at though is that the idea that the refresh of the Switch hardware, the Switch Pro, if you will, that being killed from whatever it was back then, I think it's over now. I don't think it's gonna come. And it still could, like I said at the top, but I do think it's over now, and I do think what this is a sign that we are gearing up for the next generation. This is one of those. It's been the coin has been flipped. We will see how it lands, but yeah,
the bell has been rung.
The bell has been rung. It's coming.
Superman is screaming, dying. You know.
Yeah, big time.
It's not Justice League reference for all those. Zack Snyder's Justice League reference.
That's right.
Anyway, yeah, lots of stuff to think about. Lots of stuff. I'm excited. I think part of the reason why I liked this update was it excited me for like the future possibilities of next gen Nintendo. Like I want to feel that excitement for a new Nintendo console again. There's just no other hype like it in my humble, unbiased Nintendo fanboy opinion. Like I was just thinking, what's up?
So I just figured it out. I figured it out, Joey. What we're gonna do?
Yes.
Instead of we want to have this hardware refresh typically with the Zelda game. That's the strategy. Instead of that, we're putting that in the trash can. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have a Joy-Con refresh with the Zelda game.
Yes.
So the Switch will be the same, but you'll get some special Joy-Con that are different in some weird way. They have a different button layout. They have some strange gimmick that ties into the game. That's what you'll get. There it is.
Fair enough.
There it
but
is.
Will the Joy-Con still drift?
Yes.
Okay. So how much different are they? Really,
yeah,
Chick?
all
Come on.
right.
But I just remember like the build up to the Switch, like the months before it came out after that Switch presentation.
Yeah.
Like it was all kinds of fun, especially if you were in games media. Like
Sure.
I went to a Switch launch party. It was so freaking fun. And yeah, so I don't know. Let's have something like that again in the next year or so. I'm very excited. I feel the future coming. The future is arriving. It's not going to be here super soon. I believe John on Digital Foundry when he says we're not going to see it in 2023, or like it's not going to be released in 2023. Maybe we'll see it October, November. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I think it's going to be here in 2024.
But
that's what I'm thinking.
Joey, there is a part of my sicko brain that hears Digital Foundry says the Switch hardware refresh thing was scrapped, it was canned, whatever. There's a part of my brain that hears that and goes, Switch hardware refresh confirmed for 2023. That's literally where I go with these things. I just can't. I feel like we've been done dirty by these little like hints and scuttlebutt so many times that's
what are you talking about? It's not. We had a whole conversation about the Switch Pro possibly being revealed tomorrow, and then it turns out to be the Splatoon 3 Switch. That never happens, Jake. That didn't happen to us.
That was a good time, Joey. That was a good time. I wouldn't take it back.
Yeah, maybe we just need to do a video together saying no new Nintendo console ever, and then we'll get a reveal the next day. We just need to do that.
If I get one person in the comments that says Jake and Joey, I would love every day of 2023 you do a Switch Pro video.
Oh, jeez.
If I get one person that gets really passionate about this in the comments, and they said, listen, I would watch this content, I would drink it in, I'd slurp it up, like, I will consider it.
Okay, fair.
All right, okay, great, okay, good.
Switch Pro video every day, 2023, you heard it here first, let's go. All right, Jake, but any final thoughts before we close out this video?
Can't wait for the tweet to drop. Can't wait for the day that we go on, we see Mario peeking out.
Curtain.
Yeah, dude. Whatever it is, whatever dumb thing they do that was like that, because that was unreal when that went down. That was so exciting, and the Switch reveal delivered. If we could have something like that again, if we could be like surprised and like, oh man, give us a feeling that a hardware refresh would not give us. Give us that feeling again. That's the dragon we are currently chasing.
And play some song by some indie band that we'll never, ever bother to listen to again.
Yeah.
Remember that song? What an epic track.
Bring that girl back. Put her on the roof.
Yes.
Play some games. Let's go.
Let's do it. Her name was Karen back then, before that turned into a slur.
Dude.
So
love you, Karen.
Love you, Karen. But yeah, I hope also my one wish.
Oh.
Industry insiders, industry leakers, keep it all to yourself.
Oh!
Remember when we knew what the Switch was before it was revealed? Thanks to that, I don't know what article. I don't remember who revealed it. Just shut up. Just be quiet.
Joey.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Don't spoil the surprise for Internet Cloud.
Dang.
Stop it.
You're not peeking at your Christmas presents. You're not peeking.
Nope.
Okay.
We're not doing it.
Not peeking.
No.
Not peeking. All right.
But that was it. That was all for this discussion. Thank you all so much for watching. Let us know in the comments what you think of this little news update we just talked about. And let's have a little bit of fun. What do you think the next Switch is going to be, or the next console is going to be? Is it going to be a Switch 2? Is it going to be something different? Let us know in the comments. And until next time, bye.